what can be done differently in terms of airport security and travel and keeping it safe for everyone?
Well, I mean, first of all, there are a lot of flaws in airport security.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had cabin crew on my flights come through with knives, scissors, you name it. You just have to see in certain airports, you clear security, you get past, and then you can go in and sit down and have a nice steak at the steakhouse. Now, what's stopping you from taking the steak knife and putting it in your bag and getting on the airplane? But you know what? You don't even have to do that. You just get on the aircraft, and guess what? When they bring you your dinner, they're bringing you a knife and fork. So now you've got your weapon in hand.
Aren't they plastic? Aren't they? Because all the flights I was on, even the Aeroflot,
I was just not in business class and first class.
Exactly.
You get the real deal. Yeah.
Exactly.
See, I haven't been a while since first class. Wow. Okay. Because they're all plastic where we were. Because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I'd have a hot chicken to throw at.
I'll tell you one thing that happened to me. I was on an aviation security course a few years ago down in London, and the guy came in and he put these strange things on the table, and he said, "What do you think's on the table?" So we went up and we had a look at these things, or whatever. And he let us fiddle for about 5 minutes. And then he turned around and he said, "This is actually a gun." "A gun?" "Yeah, I'll show you." And he took these, I think it was 8 pieces that were on this table, and he assembled them together, and it was a gun. And it was loaded. And he said, "You see, is all someone has to do, 3 or 4 of them get together, and each one brings a piece through security. And it's very easy to do. And then it gets assembled on the aircraft in the toilet. One goes in, puts one piece behind the panel in the toilet. The second one goes in, puts his bit, and then when the fourth one eventually goes in, boom, the weapon's now assembled, and off you go." So I mean, these terrorists, they know what to do to get through the system. The system is quite easy to get through. And today, apparently, they didn't even go through security. What happened is it was just as you walk into the terminal.
In the departure lounge,
Yeah, departure lounge. And then they just blew the bomb up in front of American Airlines just to make a statement in front of the American Airlines check-in desk. And that's what happened. So, what can we do? I mean, we have to be vigilant. And when we're out in places like this, we have to sort of walk around. If we see anybody suspicious or any cases or like a briefcase just left on its own, or anybody that we feel could be suspicious, we should immediately report it or move away from that area. You just got to be vigilant, very, very vigilant. I mean, if you can travel by private jet, do so. Don't travel with the airlines. If you've got that kind of money, I definitely, and I'm not saying that because I sell private jets, but I think that business is going to have a major increase. But not everybody.
Don't the private jets still land and take off at the same airports? And do you still? How does that circumvent?
Well, no. Now, most of the private jets take off from smaller airports, or they take off from the private jet terminal, which is usually not attached to the main terminal.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
My question on that is how secure is that? Because when I think back to 9/11. Again, a lot of the terrorists behind it had trained at the flight safety schools here in the States. And, what would keep an independent pilot from using their plane as a bomb to do what this particular guy did with his bag at a gate today?
Well, first of all,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, first of all, when these terrorists attack, they always want to hit high numbers of people because they want publicity. And that's why they do it. So they're not going to go and crash a plane into a building with one person in, because it doesn't hit the news. Now,
you're based in London now.
Manchester.
Do you ever fly commercial?
Yeah,
I
do fly commercial, but again, I try and fly on certain airlines, certain times of the year. I mean, I'm careful what I do.
Can you tell us what careful is to you so that you benefit from
the first thing is being aware of certain ways these people operate. Now, terrorists come in 3 categories: the mad, the bad, and the sad. Okay, so always think mad, bad, sad. Now, there are people that are on antidepressants that suddenly freak out, and they're usually one-offs. But most of the time, when it's organized, they're usually groups of 4 to 5 people. So when you are traveling and you're standing in line at check-in, just look around, see if you see anybody suspicious, and try and look and see who the people are that are going to be on your flight. And that kind of can give you a level of comfort or level of discomfort. If you are feeling a bit uncomfortable towards somebody that's going to be on your flight, let somebody know in security. Let's say you're queuing up to go through the TSA thing. If you think somebody in front of you is a bit suspect, just let them know. Speak up. Don't be afraid. I mean, obviously not in front of them. Try and be because they could suddenly freak out. So try and go about it in a certain way. Same if you're on the airplane and you're sitting and you see somebody you think is behaving in a bit of a strange way, let the cabin crew know. And if somebody does start freaking out, I mean, just jump on them, because if they get to the cockpit, I mean, who knows what could happen. So, I mean, I don't think we're going to see another situation where hijackers are going to take control of an aircraft. I don't really see that happening again. We saw that situation in Egypt a few months ago when that Russian airplane blew up in the sky, and that was a bomb that was put in the baggage hold. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do if they do. But this is where you have to avoid certain airports. I mean, I would never go on holiday to Sharm el Sheikh. I mean, I was in Muscat, Oman, a number of years ago when I had terrorists on one of my flights. And what actually happened is we just done one flight. We're embarking passengers for the next flight, and the ramp agent comes up to me and says, "Oh, Captain, the one of the passengers said this plane is going to crash." I said, "Okay, where is he?" "Oh, he's sitting in row 20. So I asked him the standard questions. I mean, is he on his own? What is his age? Describe him, blah, blah, blah. I said, "Okay, could you just leave the flight deck for a few minutes? I need to speak and consult with my colleague, and then we'll bring you in and tell you what we'd like you to do." So immediately I said, "Look, there's no way I'm having this guy on the flight. So get him off, his friend off, and everybody else off. Because if they are hijackers, there's going to be 4 to 6 of them on the airplane. And 2 have been spotted, but the other 4 haven't." So we got everybody off, all the hand luggage off, all the bags in the hold off. Within 10 minutes, the airplane was surrounded by 50 police, and we were on the ground for about 3.5 hours. All sorts of things were going on. Anyway, in the end, these guys were terrorists. They put in jail for 10 days and then were deported back to Yemen, which is where they came from. Now, what was happening there is they were testing the system. And this is what they do.
Yeah.
So before they strike, they send their people, because, you know, at the end of the day, remember, they want to be in the mainstream news, having killed 150 people.
Right.
That's what they want to do, okay? And they want to maybe kill a number of Americans or British, Jewish people. These are the 3 main targets, okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to go and send their guys out in certain airports and do certain things and see how the system reacts. That way, they make a list of airports that are vulnerable and airports that are not vulnerable. I mean, it was reported here in the UK just after the attacks when the airplane exploded, taken off out of Sharm el Sheikh, that there were English people in line trying to get on the airplane to come back to England, and the guards that were manning the security lines, you had to queue up for like 3 or 4 hours before you got through security. Is all you needed to do to get through quickly was pay them $10 or $20, and they'd let you jump the queue.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and that was online, so anybody could get.
Yeah. So you imagine how that bomb got on the airplane. That was easy. So obviously, when they were testing the system, Sharm el Sheikh flagged up as an easy one. And
so what did they need to do? Go from there to another airport, and then they've already gone through security and what have you. So it's not a matter of going through customs again. Is that how it works?
Well, no. What probably happened there is somebody disguised himself as an engineer. He maybe got in the vehicle. When you come from outside a certain part of the airport and you want to go through the barrier, you have to have a pass and that. But again, it's just easy. You just backhand the guard, which is probably what happened. He let the guy through, and he put the device on the airplane. And this is what happens in certain parts of the world. So you want to really avoid, because airport security is terrible. I mean, I remember when I used to fly into India, we'd land and they'd have 35 cleaners come onto this Boeing 737. I said, it's a Boeing 737. It's not a jumbo. Why do we need 35 cleaners? And they'd all come in very quickly, and I'd stand at the door and I'd say, "Wait a minute, where's your pass?" And some of them didn't have a pass, and I'd send them off. Some had their pass in their pocket, or it was in their jumper like this. I said, "Can I see your pass, please? Let me have a look at front and back. Is it a real one? Let me see if the photo corresponds to the person." And because I didn't want anybody putting some device on my airplane.
Right.
How does that become your responsibility too?
It's not my responsibility. It's not my.
No, I'm just saying. You know, in the States we have like TSA. We know there's a TSA agent somewhere on the plane each flight.
Yeah.
Never know who it is, or you're not supposed to. I think it's pretty easy to figure out a lot of times, but. Do you have something like that in Europe where there's someone who is armed on each flight? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the systems in airports in Europe is quite good. Southern part of Europe, not as good. Okay. Places like Italy and Spain and France are a bit lax. But the northern part of Europe, like Germany, England, they're pretty good. But again, all their scanning systems and whatever, they don't pick up everything. And then, as I said before,
Right.
you only have to book yourself a business class ticket, and guess what? They give you the weapon on board.
Yeah.
Right.
But as I said
Yeah.
before, I don't see another plane being taken by hijackers. It's more going to be a bomb in the hole. But I see more things like a shopping mall being blown up.
I absolutely agree with you, Fabrizio. And earlier on, we were talking about, the airport security outside the departure hall and so forth. And in some countries, in some airports, you can't even get in until you've got your boarding pass and you've gone through all that. Do you see a possibility of that being implemented in European airports or American airports, or is it even effective or worth trying? Or
like check in outside the gate, outside the actual.
Yeah, I mean, what will happen? It's just like after 9/11. What did they do? They increased security. Or at least they make you think they increase security, and they will do this again. And certain companies will make money. And again, I mean, is this a conspiracy or not? I don't know. But there will be companies that build these systems that will make money as a result of this. Unfortunately, this is the case. Will it stop them? No, it won't, because there's always going to be flaws in the system, and these people know how to get through the system. And there's always somebody there that's going to, take the $100 to let the guy through, and you're never going to find out who it was. So, I mean, and I'm not trying to create hysteria here, but we have to be vigilant when we travel.
No, but I think we appreciate your perspective, because I think we come at it from we travel quite often, so we see more than most, but we're still not privy to all the details. We're still not, so it's when someone says, well, just go to the safer airports or avoid saying, well, we want to know what those are. We want to know what,
where is it
be vigilant,
effectively implemented security? I mean, people talk about, Israel being one of the safest places to fly in and out of, because they do profiling.
It is.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, for example,
from your knowledge.
Take Manchester Airport. Now, I've flown a lot out of Manchester Airport as a pilot, and every time that the flights, El Al flies, there's a whole section of the terminal which is blocked off. And to get in there, you have to go through extra checks. And there are Mossad agents all over the place. I mean, you don't know who the Mossad agent is, but I can guarantee you they're all over the place. They're on the plane, they're before the plane, they're under the plane, they're all over. And they do a good job, and nothing gets through. I mean, they're very, very good. And there's a lot to learn from them. So I would definitely bring one of those experts in. If I had my own airline, I'd bring one of those experts in to help create a system for my airline, just like that, to keep my passengers safe.
Yeah.
Which is why I went down hard on those guys on my flight. I said, I want them off immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's no but. Get them off now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, if you just have to look in the face to some of these people that work for the TSA, and they don't look very sharp to me.
No, I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So now, do you really think that those people have, number one, the right education, let's call it, the right mind, the right awareness to actually do the job? Number one. Number two, do you think they've been properly trained? Do you think they're fit enough to be able to deal with a terrorist?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Some of them are like, I don't know if this guy could run after somebody and actually whack them effectively.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these people are evil people.